got two.
Where you at? Welcome to On the Chain. What is going on, everybody? What's going on, Chip? This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. You guys are here on the chain. Today, we are going to talk about XRP pumping up the volume, at least amongst the millionaires out there that are holding XRP. And did you guys know that there is a legal double standard being set when it comes to Ethereum and Bitcoin versus XRP? I think we might have referenced it before. And yesterday, December 12th, 11 years ago, was Satoshi's last message to the people of this entire cryptoverse. And so we're going to get into that and a whole bunch more. If you guys are ready to kick things, get ready. If Chip, if you're ready,
I'm ready. Let's do it, Jeff.
Let's do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
And as we always do, Jeff, we have to jump. Sometimes you got to jump head first into the shallow end for maximum impact. And I think first up tonight, we got a doozy to share with you guys tonight. I think you guys are going to like this one. But while you were doing this, why don't you drop where you're from, the city, the country in there, because we love to review that and see where everybody's coming in from. Yep. But look at this, Jeff. So this was put out just a little bit ago. This is Eleanor Terrett. Obviously, she works really closely with Charlie Gasparino. She was the one that authored that amazing investigative piece about the whole history of the SEC, v. Ripple, and digging in on the whole Ethereum thing. It was a long read. That was when she cornered Jay Clayton at that soiree a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, "What did you think of it?" And he's like, "It was long," and he was right. And I guess that was the best thing to say. But wow, this is not loading for some reason. But let's let this puppy load in again.
There it is.
There it goes right here. So what she's saying here, she says, this is proof the SEC is divided and that Gary Gensler is failing to inspire confidence in his fellow commissioners.
No.
Ooh, Jeff, no.
No, you don't say. That's not possible, Chip.
Say it's not so. So here it is right here. This is falling further back, a statement on Chair Gensler's regulatory agenda. Oh, there is some dissension inside the SEC, Jeff.
Falling further back.
Commissioner
behind.
Hester Peirce, along with Commissioner Eli Roisman, put this out. And then she highlighted this one line here. While Chair Gary Gensler's newly released regulatory agenda is ambitious in scope, we are disappointed with its content.
I would say so. I think that we could be spread out amongst the hundreds of thousands of XRP holders out there. At least I know for sure amongst those that are here within the on the chain community. 100%.
And although that was just, but let's look at this right here. We're starting right off the bat. Bam, there you go. Supercar XRP Supercar. Thank you for that support. Appreciate it.
XRP2.
Jeremy Hogan, XRP2. Well, guys, we got some new news on that too that we will be getting into a little bit later in the show. So
they rebranded.
They rebranded.
They changed it so drastically, you would never know it was them.
You would never know. It's kind of like you go from XRP2 to XRP3. I mean, it's almost that subtle, right? But we'll get into that XRP Supercar. Thank you for that. So what we're looking at now, Jeff, this is the actual blog post right here. No, I can't get the better pictures of this. I mean, my gosh, they are commissioners. They're all like blurry and everything.
Yeah, they're on a government salary.
Yeah, and they authored this. But you got to remember that some of this is probably going to be politically motivated as well. They're both Republicans. You have Gary Gensler, and the other two commissioners are Democrats. But it's not always about that, because if you think about it, the lawsuit was dropped last December 2020, and you had the former chair, Jay Gensler, who was a Republican, breaking with the two commissioners and voting on the other side. So there's a lot to it. But you can see how much clearer this is. We're not going to get through the whole thing, but I just think it's important to note what they're bringing up here. First off, with the facilitating a capital formation, the regulatory flexibility agenda neglects to include a single item designed to help companies raise capital. Indeed, several items listed are poised to do the exact opposite. So again, this is, outside of the crypto area and the crypto market, Jeff. So it kind of like falls under the same guideline, right? It's like companies. Well, how are companies supposed to raise capital? You got facilitating the capital formation, and it doesn't address anything about companies raising capital.
No, and it's interesting too, because they keep referencing this point of, come on in. These exchanges, come on in. We don't really want them to expand. Could you imagine, and we've referenced this before, but think about early 90s, internet's getting ready to go through a boom phase. And all these companies, everything's just getting ready. And all of a sudden the government kind of puts the brakes on a little bit, said, you know what? I think we need a little bit more regulation. We don't want to make it easy for you. We want to slow down your innovation right now. We think you guys are just moving way too fast and just isn't it's not a, good look for the US to be innovative like this and a leader in tech. So why don't we artificially put you to a complete stop? And that's similar to this. I mean, the IPOs and think about the 90s, Chip. I mean, real well, like pets.com, anything with a .com got millions of dollars, and sometimes those millions evaporated into thin air. But look at what we got out of it at the end. I'm sure people lost some money, people that thought they were worth millions on paper were worth nothing. But that's kind of what we're going through again. And if you want to, stifle that kind of thing, I guess, Gary's your guy.
Right. And to kind of sum it up, it says a likely unintended consequence of lowering the thresholds will be to limit the opportunity of employees, smaller investors, other non-institutional investors to invest in promising businesses. So again, they go on to talk about a second example, but number two, they bring up the whole maintaining fair, orderly, and efficient markets. The agenda abandons two important endeavors crucial to maintaining fair, orderly, and efficient markets, which had been in progress during the prior administration. So again, undoing something that was promising, something that was working. And the proposed exemption from the Exchange Act rule for certain publications of broker-dealer quotations. And we don't have to get through all the nitty-gritty of this. The bottom line is that they're rightfully calling out what they deem to be inefficient, right? And they're rolling it back and they're undoing good stuff and they're making it worse. But that sounds to be like a theme of what we've kind of seen with a lot of things that happens in government these days. Number three, furthering the investor protection. Now, this is a big one. The agenda also comes up short on furthering the investor protection prong of our mission by failing to provide more clarity on digital assets. First, the agenda makes no mention of any regulation with respect to digital assets. In the last several years, this sector has grown in size, complexity, diversity, and investor interest. Rather than taking on the difficult task of formulating rules to allow investors and regulated entities to interact with digital assets, including digital asset securities, which I don't know if that's a made-up Gary Gensler term. The agenda.
I love those Gary Gensler terms. They
right?
kind of throw them in there. Nobody else knows what he's talking about.
But that's placating right there. You just leave that part of it out. Through its silence on crypto signals that the market can expect continued questions around the application of our securities laws to this area of increasing investor interest. Such silence emboldens fraudsters, hinders the conscientious participants who would like to comply with the law. And, Jeff, I want to highlight this one part here where it says, through silence in crypto. Now, how do you think the court is going to, you don't think this is going to come up in the SEC v. Ripple? You don't think they're going to bring it up? The two commissioners are telling you right here that there's not enough clarity on digital assets. The fact that he's doing an overhaul and there's no mention of any regulation with respect to digital assets.
No, and here's the guy who comes in and he's 100% comes all in. There's clarity. Everybody understands, and the fact that based on previous case law from some of the suits against crypto companies, that Ripple and some of these others should already have figured out exactly where the SEC or where the regulation is. And that's not, you can't judge it by that. I mean, nobody knows. There's no actual rules to the road, and Gary's making it up as he goes along, which really, if you go back and watch his MIT courses, I wonder how much of that he made up. Do you think it was all based on fact, or did he make some of that stuff up? Did he throw in his own terminology?
Well, it's his own opinion.
Did anybody watch it? I never watched it. Obviously didn't go to MIT, so I didn't attend any of his courses.
Yeah, well, I tried to watch it on YouTube, and my God, they were so boring. I wanted to just poke both of my eyes out. I've actually sat there, believe it or not, I was painting the house this summer and I was watching the paint dry. It was rather fulfilling, Jeff. Way more fulfilling than watching Gary Gensler's, his whole thing on the.
Hey, dude, he should have taught his class from his from his room with a fireplace.
Or the Winnebago. You know, he should be in a Winnebago traveling around, like one of those old ones, you know, from 1974. And also the agenda fails to prioritize action on data security amendments for the consolidated auto trail, which will collect and store information about every trade in our market, the people who make the trades. The Commission proposed these amendments more than a year ago, had planned to finalize them last spring, but instead deferred them. Now this agenda again defers. Yeah, and now they deferred for another 6 months.
Pushing it out. Why not just keep deferring? What are they deferring for, do you think? I mean, what's the idea of just kicking the can down the road? You know,
I have no idea.
Let's just keep it up. Just keep kicking the can down the road, and we'll see what we get out of it.
Well, I love this. I love the fact that, you know, and this is good. I mean, the whole idea of how government should work, you're not supposed to be 100% lockstep in agreement. Republicans are in office, Democrats disagree. You know, Democrats are in office, Republicans. It's part of the way government is supposed to work. You're supposed to have a healthy dialogue, and they're pointing this out and very respectful. They're just saying, hey, it neglects to mention this. We're deferring this. So we talked about, you know, 6 months ago, it's getting deferred again. They talked about number 4 is the undermining the precedent, which is the agenda makes plenty of room for rulemakings to undo rulemakings that the commission only recently completed. So that in itself, these include proposals to further amend our rules on proxy solicitation. Wow, that was a long word. Shareholder proposals, you know, on and on and on. So they finally filed to say this: we urge the commission to apply our scarce resources towards better uses than undermining recent precedent and depriving the markets and investors. Right there, Jeff. Markets and investors of the rule benefits. Man,
that'd be nice,
right? So anyway,
hey, good evening, Matt Hamilton.
What's up,
the
Matt?
Man of the hour.
It was really awesome hanging out with Matt and going to that. What's up, Matt?
Did you hear that Matt, he put out on Twitter that he got stuck at the airport and had to quarantine for 24 hours at the airport waiting for another test?
Oh, man. Well, we know that, yeah, I mean, test, all these weird tests that have to be done. And well, the event was fantastic. I love the event. It was great meeting people in person. It was great meeting Matt in person and Jebsy, and you know, it was great hearing both of them speak.
Awesome. Yeah.
And everybody, and also too, I was really happy the community got to hear, because even though there might have been, let's call it 100 people at that event, there were thousands of people that had the benefit of being able to watch it, which was really awesome. But you know, when we talk about some of these things that are going on with the SEC and the securities and stuff and all of this stuff, Jeff, it all kind of makes me believe that there's just nothing but chaos going on. I mean, it's almost at a point of where it's up and down. And thank God we've got some amazing people and researchers that are pulling these videos up, because it's all on video, Jeff. Somebody said something, it's on video. I saw so many today, and I'm like,
forget about that, right?
Well, I thought to myself, gosh, you know, I mean, for such a young industry, there's certainly a lot of video of these people jibber jabbering about different things. I'm absolutely almost shocked about it.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. So what's the next thing here, Chip? What do we got? I think there was another article here, but I guess we already just covered that through some of the tweets. But the SEC's chair's regulatory agenda fails to include clarity on crypto. We already saw that.
Well, this is just it's kind of an article kind of written about the whole the agenda, but again, it's a different take, and it's another positive sort of a take, because they kind of talk about they break it down. But again, like I said, I like the fact that it's happened. Like, here's a tweet by Hester Peirce. It said, the latest regulatory agenda shows the SEC will be busy in the upcoming months, but not working on the right things. So, and you know, when you have dissent from within, it's kind of healthy. But you know, it would have been nice too to be able to pass that around and get some buy-in and say, hey, what should we be working on, rather than here's our agenda and good luck, live with it.
Exactly.
So a lot of it's a rehashing what we just saw. But again, it's nice to see this in the press as well, to see that people are covering this as far as from the press standpoint. They also talk about, there's something else. Yeah. So it says Gensler hoped to introduce crypto related policy changes surrounding token offerings, decentralized finance, stablecoins, whereas Gary calls them stable value coins. He made up a whole term just to pretend that what he was going to actually do there. What happened to Jeff? Jeff just bailed on me. Exchange traded funds and lending platforms. So there is that right there. Jeff, come on in, join me. I see you there hanging out in the green room. Jeff's in the green room. He's hanging out. Do you need me to add you? What's going on there? I don't know why you're not in the there you go. Okay, lost your mic there for a second. Turn your mic on.
Lost everything. Lost the
everything.
Mic and the
well, that'll happen sometimes, Jeff. Yeah. So what I was basically getting into is the whole idea is that the press is picking up on this, and it seems like they're just getting hammered lately. There's just a lot of stuff, and then there's this one here, kind of staying on a similar subject, but let's see. Yeah, let's start off with this. This was these are two John Deaton tweets here, where John Deaton said, please listen. He literally here, probably best if I just show you this tweet full size, because otherwise it kind of loses its.
Everybody keeps saying that I look pale, and I can't get ever since Thursday, my whole lighting has been way off. I can't.
And the funny thing about that, Jeff, is I'm the one that used to look pale. And I'm like,
I know you're perfect now. Now
I actually
I'm
look human.
zombified.
It's good.
I can't get the lighting. I think my lighting is a little bit off over there, so I'm just looking at it. The bright lights are way up, and the other lights are down. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you have to, sort of get that right. So basically, there's a clip of Bill Hinman. I wonder if I should play this clip. Let's see why we would.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's play it.
Let's play it. Okay, so you know how that is, Jeff. I basically remove it, stop it.
Got to add it again.
And add it again. It's always it's like, why do we have to do that every time? It's just part of the. Which one is that? What's the headline on this one? So that's the other thing. I gotta make sure I get. Is that the right one?
A lot of comments from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, everybody's got a comment, Jeff. Everyone's got to say something. Let's just see if we've got. Here we go. Come on.
Yes, I can smell it.
All right, so let's listen to the clip.
Panic is wondering if I can smell and taste. Yes, perfectly fine.
Yeah, my taste. My smell's still a little bit off. The taste, I'm wondering, is a little bit off too. It is. Kidding. It's not. It hasn't been 100%. I'll be honest with you. There we go. So let's play this. Here we go.
Bitcoin nor Ether would be considered securities and thus not under the purview of the SEC. Can you very briefly explain what your reasoning is?
Sure, Bob. These are complex facts and circumstances tests, but when we look at Bitcoin or if we look at Ether and the highly decentralized nature of the networks, we don't see a third-party promoter where applying the disclosure regime would make a lot of sense. So we're comfortable in some sort of viewing these as items that don't have to be regulated as securities.
Now, you also talked about initial coin offerings or ICOs, which are ways of raising money using cryptocurrencies. Did you use a similar reasoning? You implied that most seem to be securities, ICOs, but some of them are not. Can you just show us what the difference is simply?
Yeah, please.
I wish we had a simple way to say this is in and this is out. As I mentioned, they're usually facts and circumstances tests. But a key factor is there a third-party promoter here who knows much more about the instrument than investors might? If that's the case, that's sort of an initial indicator that we might have a securities transaction. If people are buying it for investment and for a return and looking to that party for a return, then again, that's an indicia of a security. If you have, on the other hand, a token that's just used in the network for a good or service, and that's why people are buying it, and that service is available and up and running, not under development, then you may not have a security.
Sounds super clear, doesn't it, Jeff? It sounds like
that was very clear.
It sounds like he's making it up as he goes along.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, where did he come up with this? I mean,
who's the third-party promoter? Is this Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus? We have a promoter. We're the one day only on Sunday. Sunday, one day only Sunday. What is he talking about, Jeff? He's like, and if there's a promoter. Meanwhile, half the time I thought he was sleeping, but I believe he's looking down at his notes.
I'm sure. I'm trying to figure out where they were. I hear all the yelling and stuff. I thought people behind me kind of shouting and yelling.
Probably at the floor, probably on the floor.
What's going on over here? They're like, get off the stage. Shut it down.
People are yelling in the background. Could have been any worse of a spot for a live interview. All right, but let's listen to what he says. It does unpack a little bit more, but let's listen in a little more.
Mr. Hinman, Kelly here. Just to be clear, does that mean if stocks didn't have a third-party promoter, they wouldn't be securities?
Well, as you know, Kelly, stocks represent an interest in an enterprise where there's a management team, and it's really, whenever you're buying a stock or a bond, you're relying on that management team. Those are the third-party efforts we're talking about, where someone is creating value for you, you're passive, and you're expecting their efforts to generate a return.
So just to be clear, for example, a book of the month club that we're joining on an ICO, or a golf club membership, we're not expecting any financial gain there. That would not be considered a security. Am I right?
Fair enough. If you have that system up and running, if you have someone promoting the next golf course and is selling interests, and the architect and the land and all the key items aren't there yet, and you buy 25 memberships, that may be an investment. You're looking for a return on that. On the other hand, if you go down the road and you buy an investment, or you buy a membership in a club that's up and running, and you just use it to play a round of golf, that's probably just a good old golf membership.
Probably,
Jeff. You know what I'm wondering here? I'm curious.
Probably. Why is a golf membership relevant? How do we get to book? How do we get to Book of the Year Club? People are asking when this is from. When the heck is
I don't know, but
from? Must have been like 2018, right?
It must be 17, 18 around there. I saw that XRP was 56 cents up there. I was like, ooh, that looks good.
Nice.
But you know, Jeff, why doesn't Ripple just create a Book of the Month club and then say like, hey, it's not a security, man. Just, you know.
That's right. This whole an XRP of the Month club.
Now let's just review what he just talked about. He just talked about a membership. You buy memberships, and so are you expecting the investment to go up? Like, are the memberships going to be worth more next year than they were this year? It's ludicrous. And I love, and Kelly asked the question.
But he's like, though.
She's like, well, what about stocks? Is that a security? Like they're almost like they're
it's not distributed through that third party. Yeah. And so I think there is still, I mean, at this point in time, there was a significant amount of confusion as to what a cryptocurrency was, a digital asset. And fast forward from then till now, and guess what? They still haven't gotten it. There's still a little bit of confusion. So if he's confused, and the way it's like you said, it's almost as though he's making it up. But then how is it that, you know, they can have this disparity and come out and talk about Ethereum or Bitcoin and make reference to it? And both Hinman and Clayton both made reference to ETH and Bitcoin. Now they're trying to pull it back and say that it was personal opinion, that it wasn't done in a professional representation. But I mean, it's ridiculous. I like that. Legendary. I'm a full-fledged member of the club XRP.
There you go, boss. And all right, there's just a little bit more, but again, it's like the hosts are like, wait a minute, we're asking you questions, you're totally evading them, not even answering them. But let's listen in.
You and Jay Clayton, the head of the SEC, have been very adamant that you are not going to change the definition of securities laws to fit this new technology. One of the points you made in your speech was the concern about the fraud that was out there in this space. Are you seeing significant fraud?
We do certainly see cases where people are trying to repackage an investment opportunity as a coin or a token, and saying that somehow because it's labeled that way, it's not an investment security. And in many cases, we have seen people doing that where the underlying enterprise is not a solid investment opportunity. It's been misrepresented. So we do see fraud, and we do see it being packaged up this way. On the other hand, we think there's an enormous amount of promise in the distributed ledger technology and blockchain technology, and we meet frequently with legitimate parties here really trying to do something innovative, and we're trying to help them navigate the securities laws as they do so.
Dude, hey there, thanks for checking. Like 6,600, Ethereum at like 518, and they're talking about the on the Bitstamp exchange, Bitcoin USD on Bitstamp and on Coinbase.
So let's so now that we've listened to the clip, we're basically going to now it's going to make a little more sense of what John Deaton's tweet is and give some context. So basically, he tagged Charlie Gasparino and Eleanor Terrett saying, hey, please listen. Bill literally says that when he looks at Ether, he doesn't see a third-party promoter, WTF. I guess he forgot about his 4 to 6 meetings with Joe Lubin. of consensus. I guess he never heard of Vitalik Buterin. So that was what he was talking about. And it was like deposition testimony of Bill Hinman was, question, did you direct Ms. Starr to contact Mr. Lubin to set up a meeting with the Division of Corporate Finance? And Bill Hinman replied, I don't remember doing that. It's possible, but I don't have a specific recollection of asking her to do that. Well, apparently he did it like 4 to 5, 6 times, because you know how that happens, Jeff. You do it once, twice, 3, 5, 6 times, and you can't remember everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back, I mean, this is something that kind of I was thinking about it as I was reading through Deaton's Q&A there, and some of the things. Did you click the link in an email or whatever? And I'm thinking back 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Can I remember if I clicked a link in someone's email? But do I remember if I met with someone, 4 to 6 times, and I had someone else set it up, and it's something like outside of the ordinary? It's like it's the first meeting that you've had with somebody about Ethereum, and you don't remember having that meeting from 2 years ago, or orchestrating or setting it up. But that's always the cop out, though. No, I have no recollection. I don't remember, Chip. I don't remember setting that up. Oh, that was yesterday.
Remembers everything.
I don't remember. Didn't happen.
Who remembers everything? And of course, I have to say that I'm really excited that Charlie Gasparino has been on the case, because he's just been tearing it up lately.
Dude, he's awesome.
Yeah. So Charlie Gasparino, he penned this article in the New York Post. It's an opinion piece, what they call an op-ed, but it says the SEC case against Ripple Labs for XRP crypto sale, a bit of a double standard. Just a bit, Jeff. And there he is again, man of the hour. And during last week's snoozer of a congressional hearing on the 2.5 crypto blockchain business, we got a small glimpse into exactly how the government knows about technology that can transform. Yeah, how little they know about the technology, how little they know about most things, to be honest. Right? I mean, it's not just
well,
that.
You think these are everyday people, I mean, everyone, tries to hold these government officials up onto some pedestal like they're supposed to know everything. But
that's true.
Matt, I don't even know what you're talking about.
What's he going on about? So it says
I have no idea what he's referencing.
I have no recollection of meeting Chip and Jeff. You're on. Who would remember that? I don't remember that.
I have no clue.
It was like Thursday or Wednesday or maybe Friday. Nobody remembers. Who remembers
that? Like
anything?
A year ago.
But I had to tell you, those were good mojitos. I got to say that.
Those, maybe that's why I can't remember. Those
and the vacas fritas was delicioso, man. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Whose idea was it to order a pitcher of mojito?
I don't know. I believe it was mine. Guilty as charged. Right there. Ding, ding, ding. I did the math in my head.
We
don't
need one mojito. We need a pitcher of mojitos.
Yeah, but it was a better value, though, Jeff. Sometimes you have to go with the better value. It's starting to do some
Always
number
have to
crunching.
Go with the better value.
Yeah, a more complete picture of, and this is what I love. I love these words of utter fecklessness.
Oh, yeah.
Is playing out in federal court in Lower Manhattan in a case titled Securities and Exchange Commission v. Ripple. It'll likely determine how much regulation there'll be over the burgeoning crypto industry. And at least so far, the SEC is demonstrating why it should be nowhere near policing something reasonably described as the next internet. And quite honestly, Jeff, I think that's an understatement. When they say it's the next internet, I think it dwarfs the internet. Now, the internet's a nice underlying sort of a thing, but this is, I mean, how lucky are we in our lifetimes to come to major technology changing events? You look out
yeah, Chip, I think what we're talking about, it's like the internet is like the wheel, all right? And cryptocurrency is like a jet. It's bypassed everything in between. I mean, it's not even, or it's more like a rocket. It's even bypassed the whole
rocket to the
phase.
moon, Jeff, if you will, right? It's kind of like a moonshot, really.
That's right. I mean, that's a distinction of what's transpiring here, because the wheel obviously changed the way civilization travels and, changed everything about civilization. But now, obviously the internet was a good start, changed things, changed how we communicate. But if you can change how you interact, from an economic perspective, and overhaul structure of government, structure of voting, I mean, everything is about to be revisited into this concept of decentralization through blockchain. Might not happen tomorrow, but we know it's happening for good or for evil. We just have to make sure the evil components are kind of left out of it.
Florida moonshine. Mojitos.
And
yeah.
with that, since you threw him up there, got to give him a quick shout out. Let's give him a quick shout out.
Come on, man, Berserker.
Yeah, Berserker's got his own little intro. So just cutting to the chase of the article, Ripple counters the SEC's creating a legal double standard. The XRP sales were legal because XRP is not much different from any other non-registered cryptos, industry heavyweights such as Ether and Bitcoin. Now, if the creators of the first blockchain did not have to register their sales of Bitcoin, why should Ripple? And famously, Jeff, this goes back to, I think it was a March or April hearing of 2020, where it might have been Matt Solomon. Don't quote me on it, but I remember the question was posed, why didn't Ripple register? And they're like, we didn't have to. Well, it's not a security. Why would we register it? It's not a security. I love that answer.
Yeah, come on in and talk to us. Well, why?
I actually broke out in laughter. And like, that's weird during a hearing when you're like listening in and you start laughing at it. I mean, obviously you're on mute, but you're like, this is a weird thing. You don't expect to be laughing like that. But it was so spot on.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if you could just call in and say, hey, real quick, ha ha ha. Like what?
Just
like
all the people did unmute themselves somehow and they were talking about moon to the moon, XRP to the moon, because that's a good look for the community, right? That makes everyone look so glowingly fantastic.
It's perfect.
And it's a lot of the same thing, but again, Charlie totally nails it. We don't have to go through it, but I just think it's
the SEC. Hey, good. The SEC declined to comment.
Oh, well, there you go. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah, that's a big surprise right there. And it talks about...
That has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, a lot of foul play following the Senate committee's move to put off a vote.
There's a whole different article here.
This is the media, big media versus Gigi. So this is Gigi Sohn's imploding nomination for the FCC commissioner.
Nice.
Ideological Sohn. So the thing is a lot of the stuff... The funny part about all this stuff, though, is like, it's one thing to be against somebody. You're like, well, I'm against you. And that you could have your reasons internally. Maybe a lot of it's political, right? But when their own words sink them and their own statements and their papers and their writings, and everybody around the room is all kind of looking around like, it's kind of weird. Like, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, but they're all looking around going, that doesn't smell right. And so a lot of it is their own undoing where, typically you're going to have, there's going to be a political motivation. One party, rallies against the other one and starts complaining, whatever. But I think,
man, Chip, on this, XRPayNet's bringing up the 37,500 that we reviewed yesterday. And the more I thought about that proposal that the Valheim group, put out there, the more I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? They're calling them to task. They're basically saying, you want to make right. Here's our proposal. Here, let everyone turn in their XRP, take the XRP, and exchange it for $37,500 per XRP. What a nice proposal.
I'm in. Count me in, Jeff. It doesn't seem like that big of a stretch, quite honestly. I mean, when you think about it, it's not. Yeah. But in some factors it is. But again, it's like, look, you got to get conversations out there and people talking about it, because whether it's nonsensical or not, got to plant some seeds. People like that number will be stuck in a lot of people's heads just because it's a nice number, Jeff. It sounds really nice.
Man, imagine if you had one Vincent Wilson. What is that going to be worth?
That's 20,000 times. You got to do the math, Jeff. It's a lot to think about.
That's a lot. It's a lot to contemplate.
It is. But while we're on the subject, though, we were talking about Jimmy Valley and Valhill Capital. I thought this was important to talk about. James Rule here put this tweet out today, and he said XRP is classified as a currency on CoinDesk. That's not what I wanted to put out. That's the wrong tweet. Never mind. Let me go find the right one, Jeff.
Cool tweet.
I thought that was actually a good one, too. That was a nice one, too, but that's not the one I was thinking about. Which is the one I was thinking about? That's not the one. Huh. You know what? I have to look for it. Yeah, I don't know where it is. But again, that was also a good one. But I just don't know where. Anyway, he's having, if I could just find it, man. If I could just find it. But James Rule is having a meetup. That crew, I think they're from the Netherlands. They're doing a documentary, and they cover, I believe they were in DC covering the what was that? A protest of some kind? They're talking about some sort of a protest that was going on. So Jimmy Valley right here. Here it is right here. I pulled it up finally, Jeff.
You find
But
it?
there it is. So it's going to be a Kirby's Ice House, which looks great. Now, one of the cool things about this bar in Houston, if you guys are in Houston, on December 15th from 4 o'clock to 6 p.m., you can meet Jimmy Valley. He'll be there signing autographs. There's going to be the film crew there. And also Val Hill Capital, you'll see James Rule will be in attendance as well. And I go like, Kirby, I don't know anything about it. It's in Houston. Who knows? What is it? And I was looking out. It looks like a fun, kind of cool place to hang out. But then I saw this, Jeff, Texas's longest bar. And I said, I'm in. I was like,
pretty sweet. I like that idea.
Over 300 free parking spaces, 12,000 square foot building, 10,000 square foot backyard, state-of-the-art TV package. So if you guys are going to go somewhere, that looks like a really fun place to hang out. Just look at that. Good times everywhere. Look at that. It's a beautiful little place to hang out. And again, nice little happy hour there if you guys are going to be in Houston around the 15th, which is, what is that? Tomorrow. It's Wednesday, right?
2 days. Yep.
That's Wednesday. So I wanted to put that out there. If anybody's in Houston, if you guys go to this, love to see some photos and pictures or potentially some video that we could always play here. If somebody's going to be going, just reach out to us. Easiest way to reach out to us is go to onthechain.io. Let me show you guys. If you ever want to reach out to us, you go to onthechain.io. Right over here at the contact.
You can find us over there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Click on contact right there. And if you want, you can hit us up on Twitter, which is one way, but you can also send us an email. So put your name, email, subject, write a little message. It's another way to do it. And it's one way to meet up with, get something in front of us. So that's one cool way to do that, which is great. And let's see, what else am I doing here, Jeff?
I don't know.
I was going to find.
I got the article, but I can't find the original email. I'm trying to find this original email, but yesterday is officially 11 years since the last communication from Satoshi. Now, what's interesting about that is that the final email was sent. Here, let me share this. Oh, you won't be able to share anything. There we go. Put that over here. This is zoom in.
Zoom.
You can do this.
I see it.
Zoom. Now I got to actually add it. If I don't add it, there we go.
There you go.
Now, one of the final things that Satoshi put out there, and I can't find the link to the actual email, but it's out there. And the last thing that he puts, the last email, he said there's more work to do. And that's it. That's how he ends. And that was 11 years ago.
So it wasn't finished, Jeff.
Wasn't finished. And it's interesting because it was on December 12th of 2010. So I know a lot of people seem to reference the 12th. Obviously, yesterday was 11 years since this all took place. Would have been interesting, 12, 12, 12. But then, 2 long years later, in June of 2012, you have the drop or the launch of XRP. So that's like a big change. So there's more work to be done. 2 years of work, and you've got XRP. How about that? Yeah, but I was really thinking through this, Chip, and I'm like, what do you think? What do you think he was referencing? What do you think he actually meant by that? There's more work to do. I mean, does it mean that they want to? Does he? Is it Bitcoin that needs to be expanded or forked, or was he referencing creating an entirely new asset class with thousands of other digital assets? Was it changing the government? Was it changing the banking system? Was it bringing about freedom through decentralization? Or was it about bringing light to corruption in politics, decentralizing big government, decentralizing voting, help bringing a majority of the people into the economic community, lifting people up and teaching them how to be successful and providing the tools to do so? What do you think? I mean, all these things, what did he mean by that last statement?
I'm just wondering if the code was 100% done, if they were looking to maybe do some other stuff, because there might have been some performance, potentially something performance, tweaking the system The response time, I don't really know what would have been done, but it's interesting to think about it, like what might have been. And the bottom line is, it doesn't seem like it was really it. There was more work to be had.
And what happened? And
Well,
then
and
what happened? It's so bizarre, isn't it? Did he go on to create another project? Is he still out there? Is he not Craig Wright?
Well, also too, there's a lot of it's just so much. There's so much swirling about that. I think the best thing about it is nobody knows. Nobody should ever know, because then Gary Gensler has somebody to go after, and that's not going to be good for Satoshi. It's like, hey, I'm Satoshi, and then next thing you know, it's like, you should have come in and talked to us. Gary will be like, you should have come in and talked to us. MIT. I'd be like, Gary will be coming around.
What was Gary doing in 2010?
I think he was at one of those big Morgan Stanley or something like that, socking away, nuts, like a squirrel for the winter. As part of his $120 million fortune. I think that might have been doing some of that. I mean, it's very possible that he was doing some of that. But before we get into anything else, let's just dive into these two things right here, because I want to play the drum roll. Drum roll, please. And Jeff is showing a picture of me. Thanks, Jeff. That's awesome. There's double me on the screen, which is kind of fun. But I wanted to jump into this right here. So XRP2 is now
XRP3.
PayNet 3. So they rebranded. It really is, Jeff, and it's unbelievable. So XRP, and again, I'm gonna read this as it is written here. Payment and settlement solutions for retail, business to business to peer to peer, online and in-store payment infrastructure for instant payments or tokenized consumer credit. Sent payments can be cleared in local currency or various cryptocurrencies powered by the XRP ledger. And there it is, people. There's the logo.
Can you go to the website?
I don't think they have a website, Jeff. That's the whole thing. I don't think they have anything.
XRPayNet.
But they've amassed 7,000 followers, Jeff.
XRPayNet. XRPayNet.
It's XRPayNet.
XRPayNet.
Like a pirate.
XR.
And look at, they got rid of they got rid of the horrible bio, which was just absolutely insanity. And,
maybe they should have just waited and said, you know what, maybe we need to figure this thing out a little bit, and maybe we'll launch it when we have a website and a white paper, and maybe launch that first.
Well, here you go. Here it says people are asking us where they can buy XRPayNet. We will not sell any XRPayNet until the website. Nobody's asking, Jeff. Right? There's nobody's asking about that. We're going to wait till the website and the white paper. Why don't you release the white paper and the website first and figure out what it is you're going to do?
Well, there's at least 34 people, because there's 34 likes on that.
And then any XRP2 holders can exchange their coins by DMing us. That's official, right? That's awesome, right? You know,
it's super official.
Just send us a DM.
That doesn't have security written all over it.
That's a
XRP panic here. XRPayNet. There's more work to do.
That truer statement may not have ever been stated here on the chain. I'll be honest with you, but there was something else that they had said too.
I mean, what happened to professionalism? I mean, why go with the hype on Twitter? Like, why start like this? I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. And then a rebrand. They rebranded in like 3 days. Granted, I guess you can do it, but I wouldn't call that wouldn't call that a rebrand. It's like, oh wait, we can't use XRP. What if we add a whole bunch of letters after it? Maybe we take the 2 away. We just add a whole bunch of other letters.
Right. It's kind of
come up with something.
It's kind of a ridiculous sort of a thing. But look at this, Jeff. So I saw this article and I thought, we could have some fun with this one, Jeff. I thought we could have some fun because the underlying factors are pretty interesting. But look at this. So this came out in one of these trades. XRP Ripple competitor Baton Systems, I don't know what you read it, could soon take the lead. Oh, okay. Just came out today at 4:45. 3 minutes ain't 3 seconds, but Ripple's at the center of the crypto industry, which poses a threat to banking status quo. Baton Systems isn't. What are we doing with Jeff?
I don't know. You can't make this stuff up.
This isn't an actual publication. This is in financefeeds.com. For a long time, Ripple's garnered much attention within the crypto space for its FX settlement capabilities, blockchain, and network. Enthusiasm grew widely because XRP, the first and most popular digital asset to live on the XRP ledger, trades on the crypto exchanges, and many investors have exposure to it, skin in the game. I don't know what any of that means, Jeff. I don't even know what I just read. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what is that? What is that?
Oh my God. That's
Well, look at this right here. This is the best.
I don't know.
Baton's core FX solution powers FX settlements for major banks. Oh, really? Oh, does it?
Is that what Baton does? It's an FX solution.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. The latest news is that Baton Systems Core FX solution, powered by the first interbank payment versus payment, the PVP settlement outside of CLS. Core FX solution was built on Baton's proprietary distributed ledger technology, governed by the Baton rulebook. This almost seems like, is this XRP 4 or what are we talking about here, though? This is probably XRP 300 because it takes 3 minutes to settle, but I will get into that. So I'm not sure what the rule book says, Jeff. We might have to consult that later, but no associated.
Well, here it says Baton Systems technology powers the world's first interbank riskless settlement outside of CLS.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't know.
The solution enables banks to tackle risk and FX settlements, generally emerging markets that sit outside the framework. Baton's innovative PVP solution empowers market participants to take direct control in their settlement cycles, settle multiple times a day. Ooh, multiple times a day, Jeff. And streamline workflows.
Looks kind of legit.
Well, I'm not saying it's not legit, but I'm laughing at the way this article is written. The article is just, I don't know, it's all over the place.
It's
development hugely significant, for the FX market. But where do they get into it? Okay, so here we go. Baton's 3 minutes versus Ripple's 3 seconds. So if you're dealing with the FX market, which is highly volatile, I would think 3 seconds would be a better. If you're dealing with the rupee, India's rupee, man, 3 minutes could be a whole different ballgame by the time you.
Matt says it sounds like it was written by an AI.
Yeah, it does look like an AI article.
That just kind of aggregated
GP3. Even GP3 writes better stuff than this, but this might have been touched by some humans. So potentially, I don't know. Maybe. Chip.
Baton. Post-trade redefined. Baton Core. Or it could be like Baton, like in Baton Rouge. The next evolution in post-trade is here. Baton Core is transforming the inefficient and costly post-trade processes we've come to accept as status quo, revolutionizing the entire front-to-back process. Baton is introducing fully interoperable digital infrastructures from trade matching through to settlement. It's interesting, but I can see where that article kind of probably got a little bit turned upside down.
So one of the reasons they say that
got a video.
Yeah, let me just.
It started back in 2016. Hey, you got a whole look at these guys, the Baton executive team.
There you go.
So you got Jay Ram as the CEO, Jerome Kemp, Alex Knight, Tucker Dona, Mohammed Abidi, Aaron Ayusa, Anath Rama Krishnan, Sonia Bathija, Daniela Huggins, and Saruba Srivastava.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. Then you got some advisors.
Well, that's what I wanted to get into. I wanted to get in the advisors. The reason they're saying, here we go. So it says the reason they say that they have somewhat of a could tip the balance for Baton is because they were able to merge from the inside. They've hired insiders, ex-CFTC chair Giancarlo, otherwise known as CryptoDad, ex-FIA chair Jerome Kemp. We just saw their photos there. And Basel III reform chairman Bill Cohen, firm already connected to ICE Clear after integrating with LCH. So yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff, but I just don't. The point of the article seems a little bit lost on me. Like they're trying to compare apples to oranges here.
It has nothing. It really doesn't have anything to do with. I don't know why the article is trying to reference it as a competitor to Ripple.
Not at all.
I'm trying to figure that part out. You've got core FX, core liquidity, core payments, and core collateral.
Yeah, and it's like, so, look at XRP2 retained Jeremy Hogan. It's like, okay, so every project tries to bring in some names to get some legitimacy. And in this case, if you look at it, I think it's kind of an ironic sort of a scenario where you have Giancarlo here. Look at this here. I'll throw this back up here. But you have Giancarlo, Christian Giancarlo, known as Crypto Dad, but he was the one that authored the paper explaining why XRP is not a security. So he went all out on that. So, but anyway, anybody's going to sign on to do that, but I don't necessarily know that tips and they're talking about effects markets and other things in here. They're going about it a different way.
Got a whole bunch of interesting things going on here. Increase efficiency and net interest income with real-time visibility and control. Monitor and act on evolving CCP requirements in real time. So there's definitely a lot going on with the banking structure. So it's worthwhile digging into it a little further just to see what's going on with it. But here's their key. I want to see with the core liquidity. But I'm trying to figure out, are they built on a ledger?
Yeah, distributed ledger. They're a DLT, but it doesn't say if they're using anything like I don't know what they're using for their instrument to be able to pass it. Like, that's the part that's lost. I would have to dig into it a little bit more.
Yeah. But there's going to be more and more of these solutions out there, and there's definitely room and use cases out there.
Well, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the project. I just thought it was odd the way they.
Oh, it was definitely odd the way it was written.
The way they try to put this article together. I just thought it was like, just didn't make any sense. Like, talk about the merits of the project, of what it is. Yeah. And then there was this one here. Let me see if this. No, I don't think I want to get into this one. Nope. I think we'll pass on that. Ron Hammond put this tweet out there. This one is talking about Ron Hammond. He sits on the, what is it called? The Blockchain Association, I believe it's called. Yeah, Director of Government Relations at Blockchain Association, author of the Token Taxonomy Act. Former Rep Warren Davidson and contributor of the HODL Pack.
Yep.
So it basically says, this week in Congress and crypto, after an in-depth and well-attended House Financial Services Committee hearing, one thing is clear: stablecoins will dominate 2022 for Congress. Nothing is more apparent of this than the stablecoin hearing in the Senate banking tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. That's big.
It is big, and this is going to be interesting. But again, the whole thing about the stablecoin, there was the one House rep who kind of put something interesting in there and talked about the fact that it's pegged to, it could be pegged to anything, but it is pegged to the USD, right? It's pegged to the US dollar. And so he was kind of saying that's not necessarily a bad thing. Stablecoins have been the hot topic on Capitol Hill for quite some time, but the successful and largely bipartisan takeaway from the House Financial Services hearing was that there's a need for regulation in Congress. No kidding, Jeff.
Really? We didn't realize that.
And not the regulators should lead to address it. So the House has typically been further ahead of the Senate when it comes to understanding crypto, especially on the D side of the aisle. But stablecoins are unique, as many of the policy. Did you get that D side right? I thought that should be it.
Yeah.
The balance reserves are familiar to older members, many of whom are on the Senate. The Senate banking hearing tomorrow will not be as in-depth as last week's House hearing, and it'll probably go off topic like previous hearings. Members will focus on stablecoins, but also CBDCs, China, Fed accounts. However, don't take the lack of experience for granted. The ODC saying goes, House passes bills, Senate passes laws. And when the Senate takes notice of an issue, usually will have a better chance of being considered by the general body than a bill in the House, especially if it's bipartisan and with senior senators.
Very true.
That is true. They do pass bills, and the House is the one that passes the laws. But I don't think there's as much support with the Senate, with senators there. I mean, Ted Cruz has recently come out and been a big supporter. You got a couple others that have been very, very pro, But it'll be interesting to see what happens. For the hearing, be sure to watch Ranking Member Senator Toomey, who's been the leader on stablecoins for quite some time. He led a letter to the PWG expressing concerns about how PWG solicited feedback from the industry. Like most Senate banking hearings, expect Senator Warren to grab the headlines or criticism, though will likely be on limiting stablecoin issuers' ability to affiliate with non-financial commercial companies. With this being the last crypto hearing of 2021, we enter 2022 with a Congress laser focused on stablecoin regulation. Both House, Senate, Dems, Republicans have expressed to us a desire to work together. The question is, can Congress come to bipartisan consensus? I still think
I don't know. Not before the midterms.
No, Jeff, I still think they're just totally off base. Nobody gives a rat's behind about stablecoins. I just don't care about stablecoins.
I just do not see that there's enough excitement over a stablecoin. However, there's a case being presented against Tether, whether it's going to, hold water or not, or however long that takes. But I guess if you can have some regulation and, understanding of stablecoin, maybe that's an easy place to start. What is a stablecoin? What is the criteria to make it a stablecoin and, qualify as a stablecoin? And really, that's something that should have been done, based on self-regulation, because the industry at large should say, here's what we think a stablecoin is. We shouldn't leave it up to these fraudsters. I mean, representatives in government to come up with, what they think might be a fair depiction of what a stablecoin is. So I think there's some work to be done. There's still work to be done, Chip.
By the way, Reggie has figured it all out. He says, I know who Satoshi is. I think it's Bruce Wayne as Satoshi. Now, there you go. It's very possible. Batman.
Yeah, who's Bruce Wayne?
So it was funny because JV was put out a tweet, JV the Great, who's usually in the chat. I'm not sure if I see him tonight, but he said, how do you get the Tether? How do you get your own Tether emoji? Well, you pay $1 million plus to get the ball rolling, first of all. And then anytime you put hashtag whatever, if you hashtag XRP, just cost $1 million plus. I mean, they say it starts around $1 million. But that's how you can get your little icon in there that they place. That's just another. So this is the new class action lawsuit that was filed against Tether in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District in New York. Plaintiffs allege that cryptocurrency fraud in Tether, iFinex, Bitfinex, and their subsidiaries. So this is going to be an interesting one to follow. See what happens here, Jeff. Little information regarding the plaintiffs. However, the plaintiff's attorney is Christian Levies from Lowry Dannenberg. He seems to have an extensive experience litigating class action lawsuits and notable cases in his career. There's a little bit about him. So that's it, Jeff. That's it.
That's it. That's what we got, Chip. Man, another week has started.
Another week is fully underway.
Man, you know what would be great? People would go check out onthechain.io. You can go over there. You can check out everything. If you want to catch up on some of the videos that you haven't watched, it's real easy to find them over there. Might be even a little easier than on YouTube. But the great thing is you can also tune in and listen to the podcast. You can plug in, register. Every time we wrap up a show, we send it out. And then you guys get a direct link back to the show from that evening, which is outstanding. You can, do so. There's actually a way to support On the Chain over there if you're so inclined. And the other great thing is if you forget exactly when we stream, you can check that out right there on the homepage and you'll say, wow, I didn't realize they were streaming 6 days a week, Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's a good way. We might need to put a little, all right, make sure you hit that subscribe button. See how cool that is. You have that little graphic. It's almost as cool in real life.
Almost. Bling, bling, bling. And there you go. And that's all there is. Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people have asked us, do you have a Patreon? No, we don't have a Patreon. Do you have we do have buy us a coffee because Jeff and I are really into coffee, but you can also do that too. But people ask, like, how can we support the channel? Yeah, there's ways to support it, but you can just come over here too and put your name in there and, email and get an email with us and stay in touch with what we're doing and talking about. So there's that too, or you can support the channel. You can sign up.
See that notifications don't work on YouTube. Maybe what we should be doing is put a link to a calendar over there on the website. That way you can put it on your calendar just automatically. Hey.
Yeah, and then it all of a sudden it says, hey, you know, click over to the channel, and that's not a bad idea, Jeff. Not a bad idea at all. But that's all I got, Jeff. You got anything else?
That's it. You know, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day.
Tuesday.
We'll be right back here, Chip.
Right on. So that's all we got for tonight. Guys, appreciate you tuning in as always. And we will see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
OTC2.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.